Hey everyone, it's Dr. Eric, the fitness physician, where I talk about all things related to hormonal fitness, muscle medicine, and much more. So I help people over 40 optimize their health, hormones, and metabolism so they can live a life full of strength, energy, vitality, and much more. Of course, as you know, talk about things related to longevity, anti-aging, peptides, genetics, epigenetics, and so much more. So I practice cellular medicine, so check me out at drericprimex.com. I have a course I'm going to have a course coming out soon in the next month or so, hopefully. And it's a private Facebook group. Anybody can join, Dr. Eric's Secrets of Cellular Nutrition and Fitness. So check out all my top tips on cellular nutrition and metabolism, cutting edge therapies and protocols that very few people are working on. I have some of my colleagues working on this with myself and just trying to stay ahead of the curve and mix things up a little bit. And I like to change things up and vary, do some things that are a little bit against the grain that I'm finding that are working. And this is one of those things that's just cool. Another one of my topics on muscle medicine. So, you know, NAD, of course, is a big topic, and that's going to be one of the parts of my course is going to be talking about NAD. And there's much more to it. Of course, every internet, Instagram stars, of course, talking about everybody's an overnight expert, of course, and promoting this. But you have to be very careful because there's NAD, just like peptides and hormones. There's way more to it, and you can actually harm yourself if you do it improperly. And specifically with NAD, if you give it to the wrong person under the wrong metabolic circumstances, you can actually cause some harm. And there's much more to it that you have to look into, and it's a little bit more complicated. But the point of this talk today is just talking about how sometimes you could do things I like to try to give my patients lots of options, and I always try to give them things that are cheap or free first before they start spending money on medications or supplements and things of that nature. So, again, when it comes to energy, metabolism, fat loss, insulin sensitivity, again, try the easy things, right? Whether it's a fasting protocol or just a tweak in their diet before they start adding all these other things. Same thing here with NAD and fat loss. There's an interesting study. And I apologize if I didn't put the journal on here, but it's actually an animal study. But a lot of these, of course, are done in animals, that we do it in humans. But there's been a lot of reports and case control studies and observational studies with people with this as well. But I've been using a lot of niacinamide on a few patients, and myself. Really, I try a lot of things on myself first before I give it on patients. But in terms of this, what they found was that good old niacinamide is helpful for metabolism and for fat loss, right? It lowered body fat by over 47%. Again, this is in animals. It increased lean body mass up to over 1.4 times. It increased the NAD, which is that energy currency of the cell, which we all lose as we get older. That's what gives our body energy. NAD is pretty much needed for everything. Energy production in a cell to provide cellular metabolism, what we call oxidative phosphorylation, and what we call the redox status of the cell, oxidation and reduction, which basically comes involved with the energy cycle. As I told you, when I practice cellular medicine, I'm treating the cell. Body takes in fuel and converts it into energy in the form of ATP to powers our cell. And we want to do that as cleanly as possible without putting out emissions. Again, think of your car, taking in the gas and burning it nice and clean, firing off that powerful car so it's shooting down the road without shooting out exhaust out of the back tailpipe. The exhaust is free radicals, reactive oxygen species. We need some of those. We don't want to quench all those, but too much is bad. So that's what we want. And again, as we get older, we lose that power, right? We lose ATP production, we lose NAD, we get too much free radical damage and more. So by optimizing NAD, this is one of the ways we can do that. Of course, everybody's talking about NR and NMN and these other more expensive supplements, but good old cheap niacinamide can increase NAD as well, not only by giving a precursor, but also the recycling pathway, the NAMPT pathway, which I'm going to talk about in some other videos, and I have in the past. It's also increased glucose utilization, improved insulin sensitivity, and increased the utilization of oxygen in the production of CO2, which, as I've talked about before, is important for vasodilation, anti-inflammatory effects, buffering the effects of lactate, and much, much more. CO2 is a very powerful thing, which you want to optimize. You're pretty worried about CO2, but that's if it's crazy high, which is going to be very difficult outside of a hospital, right? But in your average person, we want to optimize CO2 production because it's going to have a lot of metabolic effects, help with metabolism, anti-inflammatory effects, vasodilation to get blood flow, etc. Interestingly, there was no change in LFTs, the liver function test. A lot of people worry with niacinamide and niacin that they can cause liver damage. Those are typically with massive doses, especially for people that are using it for high cholesterol. We're talking grams a day. These are much, much smaller. This is like 2.5 milligrams per kilogram, which is a pretty low dose. For someone like my weight, it'd be like maybe 500 milligrams, so very low. So fortunately, there's no adverse effects on the liver. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's effective. So niacinamide, good old niacinamide. I myself take about 500 milligrams a day in the morning. Now, caveat, sometimes I will alternate in or take some NMN, a precursor supplement as well, to maximize my NAD. But this is an interesting study that, again, can improve metabolism, body fat, insulin sensitivity, CO2, oxygen metabolism, much more. Good old cheap niacinamide. So give it a shot. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me, comment and post below, share this. Let me know what else you want me to talk about in terms of metabolism, anti-aging, and more. I will gladly discuss it. Again, join me on my Facebook group, and if I'm doing consultations all around the country via telemedicine, so reach out to me, drericprimax.com, and find me on social media. Again, everybody have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.